One of those names that set my modern day, not sure you can say that, alarm bell ringing is Gremlin Graphics' first Game Boy outing. This is quite a unique puzzler for the system, which is always quite refreshing to find amidst the Sokoban and block puzzle masses. In Brain Bender, you have on each 9x9 grid a laser somewhere that emits a continuous beam of light. You need to manipulate this beam, Raiders of the Lost Ark style, over rotatable mirrors, through filters and such, in order to pop all the balloons or balls, illuminate light bulbs, and then finally guide the light onto a star shape, all within a time limit. All the mirrors are oriented around a center point, and can be aligned at many angles between horizontal and vertical. You move a cursor onto a particular mirror and press A to rotate clockwise, B anti-clockwise. Getting this alignment perfect can be a little tricky as the movement is very sensitive and precise. To pop a ball, you just need to fire the laser through it one time. It doesn't need to be a constant stream. Similarly, you can light a bulb by simply shining the laser on it once. Light can also be reflected from certain mirror walls, bouncing symmetrically off them. The filters don't reflect light, but need to be aligned in such a way that the beam can pass through them unhindered. Some have a single path-through, others a cross-shape that need to be used twice. The timer can be pretty harsh, and this is exacerbated by the risk of firing the beam back at the light source. Do this, and your energy dwindles rapidly, causing a failure. It's quite useful to alter the mirror closest to the light source last, making sure that you don't have a double back somewhere, and then finally sending the light on its course. There are walls on some levels that can only be passed through at a perfect perpendicular angle, meaning there's usually only one solution to these stages. Later on features mirrors that cannot be altered, black holes that suck up your time, and even blocks that move when light hits them. These are a nightmare. The graphics are as basic as they come, but that's not a bad thing here. You want a game like this to be clear and easy to visualize, and that was certainly achieved. That doesn't mean you'll always be able to see exactly what's going to happen, unless you can bend your brain enough. A solution often doesn't play out exactly how I imagine it will, which is more of an indictment of my own mental capacity rather than how the game works. The angles are always correct. Trial and error can be utilized if you want, but the further into the game you get, the less it'll pay off, as there are more and more ways to reflect the laser back at the source, which you don't want to do. The music's a little dull, and it might benefit you to turn it off anyway so you can more clearly hear the buzzing that happens when you're taking damage and quickly respond to it. You can usually just turn one mirror slightly and it'll throw the beam entirely off, but can still be quite frantic when it happens. All in all, Brain Bender, or MIGRAIN as it was called in Japan, fitting really, is a clever but simple game with a unique premise that is actually pretty addictive. The 120 levels are split up into 12 groups of 10, with each chapter being password accessible. It's one of those that I'll probably never finish, but don't mind giving it a go every now and then. Not bad at all. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on the game down below, and if you can spare a second, give the review a quick thumbs up, it really helps out. Subscribe to the Portable Power Podcast for a new Game Boy review every day from Monday to Friday. Or alternately, new episodes of the podcast drop every Saturday and Sunday on whichever platform you get your pods. See you later on.